Yo, how's it going, my fellow revelers? Welcome back to another episode of the Festy podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Frisky Hug, and today's episode we have David joining us. David is one of the CEOs of Kandi Bar. Kandi Bar is a candy bracelet company. They have packs ranging from something very subtle to something very more hardcore, more for the party people. So they got a variety of packs depending on the person that wants to buy it. So yeah, I sit down with David and we talk about what was his vision, what was his why he got started with the company. So that whole episode will be all about mostly just Kandi Bar. For the shout outs of the week, we are going to be skipping that for this week. This is going to be a little short. I'm actually recording this while I'm headed to Miami Music Week. We got spring break, we got Ultra, and we got Miami Music Week. I'm about to head out right now, edit this in the car, hopefully upload it. I've been kind of busy all week. It was supposed to be already uploaded since yesterday. Yeah. But yeah, it was this really fun episode. Me and David talk a lot about, a lot of cool stuff. If you guys want to check out Kandi Bar, the description below, links also in my bio. I work a lot with Kandi Bar. I really, I kind of share their vision. So I really did appreciate David coming out to the podcast and kind of talking about it. All right, guys, enjoy. How's it going, everybody? So I'd like to welcome David from Kandi Bar to the podcast.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. So excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate to have you on the podcast. I know we've had to reschedule a couple times. I know yesterday, I had you. I forgot to add you to the calendar, and then when you reminded me, I was like, shit! I promised somebody else that this was gonna be due at this hour, and I'm like, I just fucked up.
Hey, at least the text went through. It wasn't like you were texting me meet me at the Pink Flamingo 4 p.m.
I do be doing some shit like that. But me and David, I've known David for a while. Like we were our first just Instagram friends. I believe we added each other a while ago. I actually found out about him having a baby and all that stuff before I really even had a conversation with him. So Instagram friends are a real thing, guys.
Yeah.
I do look at my wall, I promise, and that stuff. I am keeping up with everybody that I do follow for the most part. So like I said, I knew of David before we've ever even said one word to each other. So that's how I know David. David, for the people who don't know you on here, if you wouldn't mind just kind of giving a quick intro.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's David. I live in Washington, D.C. I'm the founder of Kandi Bar, and I've tried to have a positive influence in the rave community with that brand for the last couple of years. As Manny said, I have a cute baby. She's 10 months old. She's asleep in the room next door. I have a wonderful wife here, and yeah, I mean, I've been into raving for a while. I got an EDM, my freshman year college roommate played Deadmau5 for me. He was like, wait, you got to see this. And I had never heard anything like it. I was blown away. And then my brother is the one who actually got me into festivals because he had gone to EDC 4 times. And he's like, you got to check this out too. And so he took me to Paradiso in Washington State. So my first festival was the Gorge, which is maybe getting spoiled a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I've been into it ever since and really only started getting serious maybe the last 3-4 years.
Okay. And so honestly, I have never been to Paradiso. I've been wanting to go for the longest time. Every single time I'm like, oh, I'm going to go. I just end up not going. Sometimes it's really hard. Nowadays, there's fucking a festival every week, right? So we're talking about how do you fucking choose? I can't. So it's really nice to choose based on who's all going. So we get on these influencer chats or ambassador chats or friend chats, hey, who's all doing this? Because if y'all doing this, I'm I might consider. So
yeah, well, I mean, I'm pumped because what was it, 3 weeks ago I woke up and saw that Project Glow was going to be in DC, which is a $10 Uber from my house, and DC never gets good festivals. But then suddenly out of the blue, stacked lineup. Well, I paid $100 for my ticket, and all my friends from Instagram are coming. You're coming, it's and it's wow, I didn't even have to plan that.
Yeah,
it's like a home game,
I tell you though, that it changes, man. So I came from Colorado, and but I live an hour and a half away from the festival area. So then when I moved to Orlando, I'm literally 5 minutes from the festival area and 1 minute away from home base. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have to do anything. And that is such a sweet feeling. Just waking up in the morning going, guess I go to a festival,
Right. You have all your stuff. You don't have to get on a plane and all that. Wow.
not living off a bag, and like it's so great, man. So like, when you realize that over at Washington DC, when we're all there, because like I think Emma's going too, I'm going. Honestly, a lot of like people are gonna be there, and I have friends that already live there as well. So like we're being hosted, and it's just a whole, yeah, it's a whole deal. I'm like, okay, well, like,
Yeah, I probably know 20 people going, and like 10 of them are Instagram friends, and 10 of them are like DC friends. But that's kind of been the unexpected magic about participating in the rave community as like a brand versus just as like a fan is I've made so many friends as a result of doing this, like you and others, like in our, in our group chat. And I never expected that. I thought I was like, oh, like I'm gonna do this thing and like it'll just be like my little side hustle. But now it's like actually been a really a strong source of like connection in my life, which is really special.
yeah, I mean, communication, networking, those things are so key to anything you want to do. So it's like the friends you make along this way, and they're really beneficial to whatever career path you honestly want to choose. So like for me, for instance, if I wanted to choose to all of a sudden like make a festival happen, like, oh my God, I have an arsenal of fucking people that I know that I'm just like, we are equipped to like literally run this entire scene in any way or form.
Yeah, like so my wife's family lives in Ohio and they're 10 minutes from Lost Lands. And so I was like, okay, listen, like we're gonna go stay at their house, and you and the baby are gonna stay at the house, and I'm gonna go
Yep.
to the festival. We're gonna be there for a week. But like because now of like the relationships I built through Kandi Bar, I don't have to like figure out who's going. I'm just like, hey, who's going? And like I
Yeah.
know 5 people that are going,
Yeah.
and it's like you don't have to like do that work to be like, okay, like this group, we're gonna convince everybody, all that.
No, yeah, yeah. You could just be like, oh, hey, yeah, who's all going? Cool. And like you literally, that's like a beauty of wall of like group chats.
Right.
A lot of people don't really like join these group chats, and I get it. Notifications be whack, and people be tweaking on these fucking chats.
Yeah, mute
But
it. Just mute it.
mute exactly, dude. I don't even have anything unmuted except for my like text me. Like if you want to get a hold of me, you have to call or text me. You will
Right.
like it might be a couple days like if I just end up forgetting about my Instagram, like which is really hard because like a lot of times I'll just leave everybody on like not read but like unread. Like I know you're there and I know you're messaging, but I
Yeah.
like if I click that I'm reading it, then I have to reply and I don't have time to reply
Right.
right now. So it's like
Right.
I literally I work 12 hours a day right now doing surgery here in Orlando. I'm like a travel tech,
Wow.
and I work for 12 hours. And in that time, I already have like contracts with promotion companies. That is like what I have to do, right? Like I have no other time. And then I have 2 hours to myself before I go to bed. That is it. That is my day. So like I just don't have the time to be talking to people.
I mean,
And
I'm just so impressed by what you do. Like, maybe I'm just old, but like if I go to one festival a month, I'm like, it's busy. You go to like what, like back to back to back. Like I look at your schedule and like, how is that dude still standing?
I am fortunate right now, man, to have a break because goddamn, it's about to hurt. It's about to hurt next month. I
Yeah, I love
have
it.
I probably could name it off the top of my head. So okay, so I have Okeechobee, I have Glow, I have Forbidden Kingdom coming up, I have EDC, Vegas. I'm trying to do this Thunder Beats festival that just happened in Pensacola. That's the one I'm kind of like I have to like send them a huge email right now because I was told I'm not allowed to promote for them. So I'm like I'm trying to finesse promoting for it by as well not promoting. So
Gotta hustle,
we're
gotta
figuring
hustle.
that out. I'm trying to persuade them with um there are rules within promotion companies that you can break some, you can't break some others. So I'm trying to like finesse all those things. Um, God, what other fucking festivals am I trying to go to? I know I still got like 2 tickets to Imagine because I worked for them last year. So
Dude,
we will see if that happens. I mean, I already have the tickets. I have like 2 backstage passes, so I
they
might
didn't
as
even
well
give me
use
my
them.
money back for like the hotel, the shuttle and stuff. Like they were not good to us.
Um, yeah, I took a beating on the hotel, so I mean, like I found out what the date, like within 24 hours. If I had known just a couple more hours ahead of time, I would have been able to cancel the hotel and get my refund.
Yeah, I knew people that had driven 11 hours to be there and
Yeah,
found out when they were there already. Like that's you just don't do that to people, man.
yeah. So like I don't know. They had an extra day to figure it out. They could have
How many
within
festivals did you have canceled on you in 2021?
I it was probably like a good 5 of them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had we had we had a friend in our Kandi Bar group who like every festival she had planned was canceled.
Fuck. Yeah, I went to 14 of them last year. So
Wow.
it would have been I guess 19. No, that's not true because whenever one failed, I like last minute sent it to another one. So that's
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah, like when Imagine was canceled, I texted Amory. She's Scarlet Vesper on TikTok, and we like
Mhm.
become such close friends. And she was going to Secret Sky in San Francisco, and I was like, I'm getting on a plane today. Where am I going? Can I
Yeah.
just send it? I just like went
Okay.
right there.
Funny thing about that, right? I had a ticket to Life is Beautiful that I completely forgot about.
Ah, no.
I forgot that I was full setting it to Imagine, knowing I had another ticket to Life is Beautiful on the same weekend. So when Imagine canceled, I completely forgot about I had a Life is Beautiful ticket, and I sent it to Nocturnal Wonderland. Now granted, I paid $0 out of pocket for any of this, right? So,
I
like for
can't
me,
say.
like I'm not thinking like,
But
oh,
you
I
could
had
have gone to live, and you did.
I know I fucked up, and I was like, dude, I could have seen like Billie Eilish and all that stuff, because that's what I want to see. So instead, I buy tickets to Austin City Limits instead. Like I think it was like the following week, and I was like, I want to
I
see
really want to
Billie.
go to that someday. I feel like that'll be special.
I think I might just go one more time, but honestly, it's a pretty small shitty festival in my opinion.
ACL?
Yeah, it's very meh.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like,
look, I've had a very kind of strange selection of festivals in my life. Like most of my festivals have been, I would call them like nature festivals.
mhm.
So I went to Paradiso twice. I went to EDC Orlando once last year. That was my first EDC. I went to Forest, went to Firefly, and then I went a couple times to like Made in America, right? But so like Firefly, Forest, and the Gorge all have in common that they're like in nature. You're not like
Mhm.
walking around on concrete. And so that's
Yeah, I mean I do like that. I like walking around in grass.
yeah. And I just think there's something like, I don't know, especially at the Gorge, when you look at that view behind
Mhm.
the stage, it's just like, it kind of has the magic of the sublime to it, not just the like, I mean, like Project Glow is going to be in a parking lot. Like it is not like, maybe they'll do something amazing with it, but like
Mhm.
it's like where they have the like bad St. Patrick's Day drinkathon,
Yeah.
like
And that's what I was telling my friends because she was trying to figure out. They're like, oh, it's inside a stadium. I'm like, no way in fuck are we inside that. And
no.
we allowed that inside that stadium, okay? And she goes, well, where the fuck would they have it? I'm like, the same place they have every other festival that's in a stadium outside.
Well, that stadium is like condemned. Like they're gonna tear it down like
Oh, really?
soon. It's falling apart. Like you go like I went there for like an exhibition rugby
Mhm.
game when like the Springboks were in town, and like everything's like cracking. Like it's like not safe. Like it's not an operating stadium. It's like an
Oh,
old
okay.
ass stadium that's like haunted. And in the parking lot, they have this big empty space, and they're gonna do it there, right on the river.
They so I was told that this area is like a really bad part of the neighborhood, is what I'm being told. Is that true? Can you like agree or deny this or
I think that DC is complicated, and I think depending upon your income and race, you have different perceptions about different parts of DC.
Mhm.
And so I think that if you look at statistics, certainly Southeast DC has a much higher rate of violent crime and poverty and other issues. But I think also there's a lot of people that are used to a gentrified part of DC, and they just don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable in a diverse neighborhood. And so I'm not going to go out and say it's a bad part of town. It's not. And especially that festival area is all fenced off. Like that's where the National Guard was like based when they were taking over when they like had the security on the Capitol for the months after. But I have friends that live there. It's a wonderful place, and I
Mhm.
think you just have to be smart about what you do, like as in any kind of urban environment.
Yeah, so then it's not like that crazy of a part of town because we're now we're trying like my friend she lives like 40 minutes away and she was like we're just gonna Uber there and Uber back. She's like I just don't trust that part of town, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh, we could just get a hotel right across the street. Like
Yeah, I mean the best part of the hotel across the street is like if you forget something, you can go
mm,
get it, or you can like change your shoes before you go to the next
yeah,
thing.
I
Like,
forgot my shoes once, man. Like I actually so EDC Orlando, I completely forgot my shoes at home and I started walking to EDC and they're like, dude, where's your shoes? I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Like, so I had to go to the Dollar General right across the street and grab a pair of women's shoes that didn't fit me. And that's what I wore, man. It was like,
yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason that my wife and I love DC is that because it is such a rich and diverse community,
mhm,
and you know, I think that a lot of it's in your attitude and how you understand historical context of what's happening around you and how you treat the people around you with respect. Like, we're just down the street from Howard, and it's like really wonderful to see all the
Mhm.
college students walking around. Like sometimes, yeah, they're making noise, and like you could be like, get off my lawn, kids. But like, I think we just kind of celebrate it and go like, wow, we're so lucky to live in a place where there's so many people who are pursuing their education and
Yeah.
have really great neighbors. Like, it's in your attitude.
I think it's also in your experience. And I'll tell a story right now, but like ever you heard of Meow Wolf, right?
Sorry,
Have you ever heard of the like the interactive museum called Meow Wolf?
no.
So it's like a really trippy like museum, but like it's not like it's almost like art installation, but it's not like Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever these famous names of artists are. It's like this just trippy art. You walk in, there's like TVs all turning off and on like constantly. You open a refrigerator, it leads to a mirror door.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I used to go there all the time in New York. Oh, no, New York, in New Mexico, and they always have like concerts there, so you could like get all trippy and watch a concert. And I was usually like pretty good going there. It's in Santa Fe. Never did my research about Santa Fe. I just never thought twice about it. Just go and have fun, whatever. Well, I'm a guy that like, if it's cheap, I take it. So I got a Motel 6. I was literally in the same block. I'm like, oh, it's like right there. I'll get a Motel 6. It's like $35. Who's gonna complain, right? Um,
It's like no hot water or something, right?
well, it's worse than that. So I got in, we got ready, we're like, oh, let's go. As we're walking out, we're passing CSI, and there's little barriers everywhere. There's a little like dead person next to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it was like crime scene here.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like,
I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. It sounds really, really tough.
and I don't know about you, but when you're already like, starting to get fucked up, that shit
That's not
doesn't,
what you want to see.
it's not what you want to see.
That's a bad trip right there.
So I'm already fucked up. Like, cool.
Yeah,
And every
I get super paranoid. I definitely do not
so
want to be around that shit.
yeah. So then I went to the show. I think it was Kill the Noise, and I was like, I got in beside my own head, and I was like, I gotta go back to the hotel. Or
Yeah,
hotel, no, motel.
that's like
Uh,
the grown-up decision though. Is like you gotta check yourself. You gotta feel
yeah.
your feelings. You gotta know where you're at, and you gotta make choices.
So I go back to my room, and I swear to God, there was people like yelling, like knocking at my door, and I don't know why I decided to open the fucking door, and this guy is literally just tweaked out of his mind, going, I'm like, oh no, like I'm like,
No,
I closed the door right
no,
back, and I was
sir,
like, lock,
sorry,
lock, lock,
sorry, no, sir, not right now. This store is closed.
bro. And I tell you, that has changed my perspective of Santa Fe by a lot.
Yeah, but you're right. Your point is if you had a bad experience, right?
Yep.
And so if you feel scared, if you feel like an other, like then you're gonna feel bad. And I think especially on substances, you gotta protect your vibe and make sure you're in a good
Yeah.
place.
And that's like
You know,
another thing that people don't take into consideration is remember what kind of substances are you going to be taking at this festival, and will you be
right,
able to handle a bad experience in a certain part of town? Personally, if you're drunk, I promise you, you can handle any motherfucking part of town. But if you're like, going on a trip or something, you're probably need to be careful. You probably need to be in a safe space in mentally. So whatever that
yeah,
is, take care of yourself.
yeah, totally.
What so let's talk about Kandi Bar. We've kind of been
Sure.
talking about some festival stuff, but Kandi Bar wise, who came up with the idea? What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, so I came up with the idea a couple of years ago because I just loved the experience of trading candy and making candy with my friends. And I thought that it was just such a special, unique tradition in the EM community. And I think it's I love puns, I love wordplay, like just in daily life. And so it was like really a
Mhm.
fun way to do that. But then I realized like a lot of people want to participate in the tradition, but don't have the time to do it themselves,
Yeah.
right? They're busy. Maybe they're new. Maybe they don't know how. Maybe they got a job, maybe they got a kid, whatever. And so I said, people want to participate, but they want to be able to get bracelets pre-made. But they also don't want to feel like they're getting something that's not authentic to the community. They don't want to get
Mhm.
like, if every pack was the same, everyone would have the same like love, friends, like that wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
Right. And so I said, how can I solve this problem for people in a way that feels authentic and speaks to the community that's a part of and allows people to have this great experience? And so experimental stuff, like we had candy at our wedding, you know, like we love like, giving out fun stuff for people. Like I have what here's like for my rugby team, we have like customs, you know, say Washington Renegades on them. You know, so like I love to do stuff like that just anyway. But yeah, so we designed it so that the packs we're constantly changing it up. We have tons and tons of phrases. So every pack that you get, it's like a booster pack of Pokemon cards. Like you don't know what you're gonna get,
Yeah.
right? And so every time it's different. And we have 3 different themes for different types of ravers. So we have the EDM life, which is about like music, DJs, festival culture, good vibes, which is like flirty, fun, friendship, a little romantic, and like party hard is like it's sex, drugs, and alcohol, right? And so you can pick which pack you want. It speaks, and actually we've done a collab pack with you as our first influencer collab, where like you pick the phrases that
Yeah.
everybody got, right? And I think it really resonates with people because they're going online, they're looking on Amazon. It's like Sunday night, you know, the festival's on Friday. They're getting
Exactly, man.
glitter, they're getting a fan, they're getting pasties, they're getting, you know, temporary tattoos. And they're like, oh shit, I better get some candy. And you know, so like I look at the sales and I see it's like Monday, Tuesday before like a big festival. It's like
Oh, so you could tell you already know.
like I can see like the state where they're going, you know, and I'm like, oh man, like I just had a bunch of like Arizona orders. Like, what's going on in Arizona? I like look and there's like a drive-in, you know, like
That's funny.
I can kind of sense the waves in the water a little bit and hear what's going on around the country. But yeah, and like I think the experience was really fun. And the 2 things that I've been thinking about lately about what it means are friendship and access. And so I think what always resonated with me about festivals was the friendships that I built there and the experiences that I had with both like new friends and old friends. And candy for me was a really important part. It's like a physical version of a memory in a way that I think is really special, like a blessing. And then access is like, you know, like we've had some people reach out like who are disabled and can't make their own candy, or we've had people who, you know, just from their life circumstances can't. And I love being able to let people participate because the important part is the feeling behind the trade more so than like, did you make it yourself? In my opinion, I think it's great for people to make it. I'm super supportive of people making it and making cuffs and making pearl. All that stuff is awesome. But like, I want to make it so that like at a minimum, everyone can participate.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's like very important. A lot of people want to, and you hear people going like, "Oh, can I just like have your candy because I don't have any of my own," and they don't have any of their own because they don't even know where to start. Where do they get the stuff? They don't even know how many beats it takes. I remember like one of my friends, like he's telling me like, yeah, it takes me like an hour to make one single because he's like, I just don't have the fingers for it. I try to like tie it, they come off, they break.
Right.
But I mean, sometimes the people that do want to make it their own, they just want to like have a very specific like phrase for a specific person. And I get those. Those are like a very like sentimental type things. Like one of my buddies, like we were doing like a Pornhub shirt group picture, and he wanted to give, you know, the people there a Pornhub like candy. So he made 3. It took him an hour. He made 3. But you know, those meant something to him when he gave them to each people, right? So like yeah, like those scenarios where like, yeah, like, you know, if you're going to make it, it better be for like a specific person for a specific reason, you know. And other than that, it's like, it's just about the trade, you know, it's about just connecting with somebody. When you meet somebody in a crowd and you just want to, it's like an icebreaker. You just want to get to know somebody. Hey, you want to just trade some candy? I will, I promise you right fucking now, I get more candy that just doesn't have any fucking words or anything than probably anybody here. It's like, it's like cool. I have a full like black
Green.
full yeah, just one color, and I'm just like great.
No,
Like
the fun is like, can you think of ridiculous phrases, you know? And like I also love like, you know, it's kind of a way of saying thank you. So like if you're in line for the bathroom and like somebody lets you cut because you're dying, you know, like you can give them one. I also love like having the perfect candy for every moment.
Yeah.
You know, so like especially like I'll blow people's minds. Like if I have some song lyrics and like that song plays and I'll trade with somebody who was vibing to that song, they're like, oh my God, how did you know? And I was like, dude, we're at a Zed concert. Like he's gonna play that song. Like, you know, it was a matter of time. Or like, you know, something that speaks to like their outfit or something that speaks to like this, you know, the situation. Like people are like, this, like it was fate that like this candy was meant for this moment. And
so if you could, I guess just my idea maybe will transfer to you and your company. But what I used to do, I used to have like every zodiac sign as a bracelet.
Interesting.
And then I would go up to people, I'm like, oh, what's your zodiac sign? Okay, so like, you know, I know guys aren't like a fan of like the zodiac stuff, but girls are, and they fangirl over those things. And when you come up to somebody like, oh, like what's your zodiac sign? Like, oh, I'm a Cancer. Like, oh, I have some the perfect candy. They look at it like, oh my God.
How
They're
did
like,
you know?
babe, look what he gave me. You know, because it's like fangirl moment, and I've noticed that. So I love giving those zodiac signs. Like it ain't for me, it for bitches, but they love it, you know, and they those kind of candies, man, resonate with certain people, and a huge part of the community are huge on zodiac signs.
Yeah, it's like when you're at like a hotel in like a really
Mhm.
crowded like spring break or something, and you shout like off the balcony, you're like Jessica, and then like one girl turns around, and it's like, what? How did they know? It's like there's 100 people down there, like
Yeah.
somebody's named Jessica, and they're just gonna be really surprised,
Like, I got this candy for you. Who are you? Are you my stalker?
right? No, I'm just playing the odds, friend. I'm just playing the odds.
Yeah, no, I'm PI. Oh my God. Yeah. So like a lot of the candy that we get, man, it's like for me, it's a very memorable. Because creating moments for me is the only way I'm gonna remember some of my people's. But like all the candy that I receive, as long as I mean, even some of like the single color ones, I have this huge tub filled with candy
Me
that
too.
I receive from people, and I just don't feel right ever giving that away. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
let me ask you about that real quick, because like I think there's two schools of thought. I think one school of thought is like you should keep them forever because they're
Mhm.
mementos. The other is like the point of candy is to be traded. And it
Right.
kind of teaches us not to cling to things in kind of a Buddhist way.
Yeah.
Like, like it's same thing at festivals. Like if you try to hold on to it, like it'll slip out of your hands. And it's more about embracing that it's temporary and that it's beautiful because it's temporary.
Mhm.
And so some people are like, it's rehearsing saying goodbye to things that were special to you. So I'm curious if you think about like what do you think about giving away versus keeping?
So yes and no. So like when I receive candy, I like to keep it because you never know when you're gonna see that person again.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool thing when you've had a friendship for like 15 years and you're like, oh, I still have that one candy you gave me the first time we met. You know, it's like I have it, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, and it is meant, I feel like it is meant to give away as long if you feel like you want to give it away, because I gave my candy to Level Up, and she then gave her candy to somebody else, and they tagged me. They're like, oh my God, Level Up just give me a Frisky Hut candy. They're like, this is like a 2-in-1, right? And it becomes like a whole fangirl moment. That fuck me. Like, well, fuck everything I just said in the first half. Like, this
Yeah.
traded away at that point, right? But guess what?
Yeah.
She's probably gonna keep it now, right? Because like that means
Right.
so much. Like Level Up gave her a Frisky Hut candy. It's not gonna get like that's wow, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I think about that stuff all the time. Like I have a pile of bracelets here. Like here, I was just these ones are going for like meetups in
Uh-huh.
2022. See this?
Yep.
And I think about how many moments this represents, because and like especially during COVID when it was like looking really bad for things, and I had a bunch in my basement. I was getting ready for EDC
Hmm.
2020, and like I was like that's canceled, and I was thinking like every one of these bracelets, let's say it goes to like on average in its life like 2 or 3 people, right? Because like some people are going to keep it, some people are going to keep
Yeah.
it going.
Yeah.
How many tens of thousands of people are going to have a hug and a smile and a laugh based on one of these things that's in my house right now? And I feel like that's really special. Like I think like when you do content creation, when you make a reel, like you get to see like 200,000 people laughed at this thing, or like here's some people listening to your podcast. Like I don't get that because I'm not a content creator, but like this is my way of creating content for the community.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like this bracelet is going to go to people, and I'm thinking, okay, so I made that Frisky Hug bracelet that went to you, that went to Level Up, that went to
Exactly, bro.
a
It's a whole
friend.
circle.
So like karmically, I'm like contributing to all of these happy moments in life, and like the beautiful part about it is 99.99% of those moments I'll never hear about. Like, okay, so I was at home base and I was
Uh-huh.
sitting inside this pool, and like I can sometimes tell which ones are mine because of like the phrases or the colors or something. And so I'm looking at this guy, he's got one on his wrist. I go, hey, where'd you get that? And he goes, "Oh man, you're not gonna believe it. Like I was on this cruise this summer and I hooked up with this chick and she gave it to me, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." Because like, I had like, where has it been? Like I don't know. Like
It's been around.
right, it's been around, it's been all kinds of nasty places, and like I love that. I love just imagining all the
Yeah.
adventures these bracelets get off to that I'll never know about. It's kind of like a message in a bottle. I don't know, like something like
Yeah.
that.
And I like to also like I don't always keep what I keep. If I have it on my wrist and somebody just resonates with whatever's on that wrist, then I give it away as well. So then I don't
Yeah.
keep that. So like I've been given like really big candy cuffs and stuff like that. Um Sometimes when there's a new raver who's just never been gifted something that big, I want to be that person. Here's a cuff. This was given to me by so and so, or like or like, oh, like so and so who's got like 500,000 followers on TikTok, like they gave me this, like now I'm giving it to you, like I hope you treasure it, whatever, right? I mean, they might give it away to somebody else too, as another gift, right? Because it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
But if
Exactly. Exactly.
but if somebody decides that it means that much that they want to keep it, then I feel like, okay, then keep it.
Right. Everyone's
Because
got their way of experiencing it, and every way is valid.
yeah.
I think the thing that I'm most worried about, Manny, and I hope we can kind of do something about this with our social work, because I think like for Kandi Bar, we're really trying to invest in a community of creators, and it's not like some of the brands are just like, here's a coupon code, like go away. Like I think we're really trying to make a group of friends here that like make a difference in our community.
Mhm.
Like I went to Memba last week in Boston, and most of the kids there like were pretty young and did not know what candy was at all. I was like, "Do you want to trade?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Okay, right. I guess you were in high school before COVID, right? Like you haven't been to a rave yet, ever." Um, and I'm a little worried about the tradition and passing it on. And so I think like if I can get one message out today, among others, it's if you're a person that thinks candy is special, like go ahead and like teach a rave baby, like like give them their first candy, like have that special moment and like perpetuate it, because I think that's something unique about our community versus other communities that have their own different traditions.
I think that's so crazy that you just brought that up. I was just talking to my friend on the phone. Okay, so my friend, I haven't talked to him in years. He suffers from like clinical depression, so he needs like his time and stuff. But he messaged me yesterday, and I'm like, oh my god, let me call him. I'm never gonna get this chance again. And one thing we were talking about the festival scene and like raves and stuff, and he goes, "Oh, I just don't really go to like festivals anymore." And the reason being, like everybody from like my old college and old school, old high school, like they used to hate on me for all this, like for all the candy I wore, for all this stuff, and now you see them at the raves and they think it's cool, and they're just going there for the sex and the drugs. And I'm like, they don't even know who's playing. And he's like, I honestly just don't want to go anymore, this and this. And I'm like, honestly, bro, we come from a different generation of ravers, right? Ravers that we have like cultural tradition and we still go by that, right? um these are young ravers, and it is kind of our responsibility to teach them the traditions, right? Tradition isn't just automatically learned, it's taught, and we have to be there for them. So you giving up means that you're not willing to teach them that tradition. So how is anything ever going to get fixed?
And the only way that we're going to get a message out there that reaches most of them is things like TikTok, right?
Mhm.
And Reels. And so like when I talk to you guys and we plan out our content and stuff, I'm really intentional about who we bring into the group and like what values they represent. And we don't have any candy that I think is like problematic. Like we have stuff that's like R rated, but it's all consensual.
Yeah.
And it's all it's and I think that we have to be careful with the messages we put out. And so what I really love is when our team makes TikToks that are talking about consent, that are talking about ways to stay safe and harm reduction and substance use. Like these are all really important things. And so it's, I don't know, like I'm hanging out with you, I'm hanging out with a couple of people we're trading at the Corona Beach, right?
Mhm.
And like you look at the giant crowd of people that are like watching the set, and like most of them have seen one of the 5 of our TikToks.
Yeah, 100%.
And like it's like that's a crazy thing to imagine. And so it increases the importance of being thoughtful about the messages that we put out there.
Yeah, so like that friend, I haven't spoken to him to a while or whatever. Like when I do talk, it's just very like it's a very quick like 10-minute talk. So like I haven't really seen him in like 10 or so years. He was one of the people I started raving with. So he gets on TikTok and he literally texts me. He goes, "Wait a minute, are you TikTok famous?" He's like, "Bro, wait, what the fuck? Wait, we need to catch up. What has been going on in your life? I haven't talked to you in like 7 years." I'm like, "Yeah, man, you've been fucking up." Uh, and it's like TikTok is a huge avenue, man, for getting your I guess your voice heard and just getting whatever you want to get out there. So like like the trading videos, they get a lot of views. Like
I think it's something super interesting, which is like on TikTok, kind of the more authentic you can be to your niche, the better. Because I think the discovery is different than on Instagram. I think on Instagram, a lot of people try to be celebrities. Like the people that have 2-3 million followers, like not in the EDM community, but generally are like, they all want to like look like Kardashians, and have that whole thing. But like what I love about TikTok is you get like just nerds that were having fun over quarantine, and it's like, look, my thing is like, I'm a corporate raver and I'm going to do that, or I'm a doctor, or like, I'm, like, and I think a lot of people are, are just like, hey, look, I'm just working a retail job and I just wanted to be funny, It's like it, you can tell it's the people who got bullied in high school, but like for the, like it's their day to shine, like I think a lot of what the EDM community does is like give people, as you were saying, like who weren't necessarily popular before,
Yeah.
like a place to be popular. And I love that. And so there's a lot of things wrong with it. I'm not going to say that it's a perfect platform, especially like the way that they, like there's some really problematic stuff about like the type of content moderation policies they have. I'm not a fan of that, but I like the fact that when people are really authentic and talk about mental health or talk about how they fit this into their job, that like, then they can find other people who have those same experiences and share those experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everybody here has something to offer.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone in their own, I guess, in their own TikTok account, they're in their own platform, right? They are doing their best to basically help the community in any way. I think that we do get like these people who aren't really about the culture and aren't really about like the being safe and stuff. They really are there just to get fucked up, which is fine. I have a belief that the rave community really encompasses everything. So I don't think that just saying, oh, people who literally just go there to get fucked up is bad, because that's part of the rave culture too. That's we're all
Right. You just have to observe some ground rules,
yeah,
right? Like, you have to be physically safe. You have to respect other people. And like, if somebody's fucked up and grabbing people, like that's not cool. But I mean, the
exactly.
crowd is very clear at getting them out of there. But if you want to sit over in the bushes and have a communion with your third spirit, like go right ahead, man.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you're not hurting anybody,
Right.
like if you and your wife want to go have sex in a porta potty, go do that. That's part of our rave
Well, what
culture.
if there's a line though, bro? That's not cool too.
That's not cool. That's right. That's right. That's not cool.
Yeah, and I love the line where the meme where somebody's like, ravers are like, if you're holding regular people, if you're holding a dinosaur, regular people are like, why are you holding a dinosaur? And ravers are like, what's his name? There's this like, I'm gonna accept you for what you are. And
Yeah.
it's almost like improv, like yes and somebody like comes over, they got this giant cactus, his name Albert. You say, oh hey Albert, how's it going? Welcome to the group. It's like it's a balloon. But like everyone's just gonna like, okay, we're going with it.
Yeah.
I think that's like a playful inclusion, as opposed to always asking like, what is this? Why is this? Man, just roll with it. Like
Mhm.
we're gonna like have like a canoe, we're all rowing in the crowd. Like, okay, let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So it's a very like judgment-free zone. And I think the people that aren't really accustomed to those kind of zones, it does take them a little bit longer, but it's up to us to not let their criticism phase us, because that's what this is all about. And eventually, just like me, I was never always the go with everything kind of flow guy. At some points I was like, I want to be cool too, but like, why is everybody acting weird? Like,
Right.
and it takes a little bit of it's like a learning curve. You gotta kind of ease your way into the craziness, and then
Yes.
before you know it, you're wearing tutus and a flower crown. So
Well, that's a good transition to something I wanted to ask you about, which is like, I think you are on the cutting edge of men's rave fashion, which is like, let's face it, a minority of the fashion experiences out there. Like you go to any like rave clothing site and it's like tops, bottoms, accessories, and then like men's, at the bottom, like, and there's like a shirt, and you're just like, what? That's what you got. I don't
I
know.
I have been trying to change the men's rave wear fashion with certain brands. Some of them don't really work out, some of them do. It really just depends. I do want to provide more information on like where to shop for people, like for guys. I did a podcast on it. I did a couple podcasts on it.
Yeah.
I know I've done videos with Emma about it. And I still get messages like on TikTok, like, oh, where can I get this? Where can I get that? And I'm just like, literally, there's so many stores. I have like five or six stores just on my link tree alone,
Yeah.
with the discount code and everything. And a lot of I will say 50% of the stuff I get though are from Amazon. So sometimes you just have to be a little creative with it.
That's
And
right. I mean, I think we're still at the kind of DIY phase of things,
mhm.
right? Like, I think you can go like on iHeart, if you're a girl, you can go on iHeart Raves, you can get like a head to toe set. You can get the
Yes.
platforms, you can get the two piece, the wrap, the shawl, and the ears, and like you're just totally set. Now,
Yep.
I think it's better to go like buy like from the independent vendors and get like different individual creators that maybe have one or two pieces if you can. But like if you're just getting into it, it's easy. And I think for guys, like it's like besides a t-shirt and shorts, what are the options?
Mhm.
What are the different silhouettes you can have? And a lot of you have to do a DIY. You have to get something and you have to cut it. You have to have like you have to put some chain pieces on it. Like it's not like all off the shelf yet, and which I think is going to reward people like you who are really pushing the boundaries. I got like one of those like romp hymns. And like at EDC Orlando, I did a whole custom outfit like from Etsy shops, with like the glitter vest and like the strappy legs. But like it's kind of hard, I think, also because men's fashion is tends to be very limiting in
Mhm.
general. And like it's like at the red carpet, you'll see people wearing like suits, but like with cool patterns,
Yeah.
and then you have like Lil Nas X, who's like totally pushing the edge. But I think not everybody's ready for that. And it's like, is there a middle
Yeah.
ground where you can kind of explore and you can have new styles? It's hard.
I think that what I'm trying to also reach is like I try to go with different types of designs. Like I'll go with like a full black outfit and I'll go very goth one day, or I'll go just very like incognito yet stylish. And then some days I'll go straight up fucking shiny gold, right? And we're just doing this bitch. Other times I want to like, okay, here's like a comfortable two-piece fit. And I'm just trying to really show like options of what we can provide because not there are people who are very like um like they're afraid to be seen as like homosexual, and
Right.
they have that fear of like, oh, I don't want to be too out with my outfits because then people start like saying dumb stuff that I just don't want to like get into or whatever. Like people don't like being called gay if they're not, right? And that's just from what I've heard some of my friends and people that I have been trying to like persuade by certain things are afraid of looking a certain way or being perceived, I guess is the better
Well,
word
I
for it.
think I think that is an issue. I think another issue, let's just say, like, I'm not concerned about being perceived as gay. I think it's more of a choice of when do I want to code as gay and when do I
Hmm.
not. But also, um, there's an issue of appropriation. So, for instance, like I think I look really cute in like a harness kind of strappy top.
Yeah.
Problem is that is was created by the leather community, and like if I'm not part of that community and I'm not speaking to their traditions, it's a little, it doesn't feel right to me to kind of appropriate that into a rave outfit.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think it's hard, for men who are trying to push the boundaries, and that there are a lot of queer communities who have done a lot of the innovating in clothing, and you want to be inspired by that, but you don't want to just like take something from them, if you don't feel like you're a part of that community. So it's like you're either afraid of being called gay if that's not
Yeah.
your thing, or you just want to be
Creative.
respectful.
True.
And so it's like, what is that line? Or like also, how do you kind of make it ravey? I think we're still in the moment where we're defining what ravey looks like on guys.
Right.
I saw a lot of the kind of the matching Hawaiian two pieces. I feel like that was kind of new in 2021. And that's already, I think, a little bit moving forward from where we were, let's say, like 2018. You know what I
So
mean?
I have been a little skeptical about some of the outfits that I wear. Some of the really cool outfits that people are like, oh my God, where'd you get that? They are actually like African tribal like influenced. So they're like the Hawaiian ones as well, like all those. Like I do feel like I don't want to offend anybody because they are
Right.
influenced by that culture. They're not from that culture. Like I didn't get it from that, but they are influenced in some way or form by that. by that culture. So like I don't want to offend anybody, but if somebody ever was to be like, oh, that outfit's offensive, that's like from like my native tribe or whatever, I'd be like, okay, cool,
That's
I'll never wear
hard
it
because
again. But
yeah, you really want to be respectful of people's traditions. And I think it's hard when you want to, when you admire something and you see something good in what's been created. And
yeah,
how do you do that? Like, do that in a way that's respectful. I mean, one of the ways is you can buy from artists and creators from that community, right? And at least support that community with your money if you're going to participate and use the symbolism of that culture. But I mean, it's kind of a case by case basis. Like,
yeah,
I certainly am not the one who gets to say whether it's okay for you to wear that tribal
yeah.
clothing. Like, it's like the tribe gets to say if it's
But
okay.
yeah, but like it's not even from a real tribe. It's just something. It's just
Right.
influence. But my thing is like I wear that to Walmart. Like that is like I just love that wearing that. You know. So it's
Right.
not even because my rave life and my regular life, they're intertwined. There's no cuts. Like I'm literally wearing my own merch. I don't. There's no limits to what I wear when I wear it. It's just like that's just what I like and I'm gonna wear it. I literally have a house party and then like they're like, oh, why are you wearing pajamas? Like this is actually rave attire. Like,
I mean, I think it's the safest thing you can do right now is make stuff yourself that feels unique to you.
mhm.
Right. Like I got some like kind of Amazon, blank black like vest or like pants, and I just like covered it in like glow paint, and it's like there's only gonna be one of those. And it's the one I made.
Mhm.
But I think like similar to what we did with Kandi Bar, which is like take something that like really passionate group people do and make it accessible for everyone. Somebody's got to go do that for men's rave fashion, and they've got to do like more than just great print t-shirts and shorts. Someone's got to do like asymmetrical stuff, like one over one side, like all kinds of different shapes. And I hope someday that somebody goes out there and makes it easier, because like maybe you and I are going to stay up like making something ourselves, but I don't think like everybody's going to do that. It's got to
Oh,
be.
I have stuff in my cart right now. It's like reflective striped pants. The stripes itself are reflective, but one side is white, one side is black, and then I'm gonna buy like a top with like half black, half white as well in certain areas. And like, there's a lot of options on there. We just haven't like looked into it on Amazon. Well, one thing that I'm really big in is I like to wear because I watch anime. I'm huge on wearing like cosplay to a festival.
Yeah,
It's a
totally.
huge thing. So if you're a
Totally.
fucking nerd out. Like
Right,
honestly,
exactly. It's about authenticity. It's not about trying to fit in. And I think it's hard at the beginning to understand that that is the message, because I think
mhm.
you feel like, oh, I should just fit in versus I like, if you want to go as Peter Pan, like just do it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everyone's gonna be like, oh, what's up, Peter Pan? Like versus like, ew, what's he doing? Like that's not the attitude at festivals. And
yeah.
I
But
think
some people do like wearing like all black, and kudos to you. And when me and my buddy, well, he's like, hey, can we? Because I was trying to get him to like wear like a romper. I was trying to get him to wear a romper, and he was just like not having it. He's like, at first he said yes, but then like I guess his friends like made fun of him and stuff for like wanting to wear a romper, and they're like, he goes, yeah, I can't do it anymore. He's like, my friends are just like eating me alive. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, it is what it is. You are who you are, and I'm not gonna like beat you up for it, right? But we went with the full black outfits, and what I did is like I went like medieval goth with it, and I was like, it was probably one of my favorite outfits that I think I've ever worn to date. I wore it to Forbidden Kingdom, made sense. It was so fucking badass. I'm gonna probably wear it again. And like, it was one of like my creations where I was like, oh wow, this is like great. Like, and it came all from Amazon, the entire thing. So I was like,
well, that's why Kandi Bar is on Amazon. I mean, you can get it from our store, but you can also get it because that's where people are looking, and I think people
yeah,
want.
Amazon is one of the biggest like stores.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, I think it's also been so I've had like a rave fam that we've gone to a bunch of events to over the years. Like most of the events I used to go to were with this group until kind of I started branching out on my own. And it was interesting to watch the evolution of that group's fashion as we got more and more into the rave scene. Like in the very beginning, it was just kind of like, can you wear an orange shirt, And then
Yeah.
it kind of went into the like taco cat and like leggings kind of era where it's like, the kind of entry level stuff. And then now people are starting to like put together coordinated outfits. And like one guy has like a glow like white suit. And, you kind of like everybody kind of has their own journey. And so it's kind of been fun watching the whole, and I think also musically, the group has gone through a journey.
Mhm.
Right? Like I think at the same beginning, it was like we were all main stage simps, like not no disrespect to that, but like like Griffin, Millennium, like the easy drinking stuff. And then some people got more into bass, some people got more into house,
Yeah.
as they kind of got more into it and explored the different contours and like got exposed to kind of more refined different tastes.
Yeah, I've had the luxury. God, I think I've said the word luxury, I think 3 times already today.
You're
Um,
luxurious today, bro.
I'm feeling it. And they like I kind of just go with like the flow, whatever like my group is going with, I kind of like go to those sets for the most part. When my group separates, then we're having like, okay, like
Where his neck goes.
and I don't know. I feel like for me the music doesn't really change based on what I want to see, but based on what my group wants to see. It's like, oh, like I've never seen Griffin. Like, oh shit, like I've met Griffin. In fact, I talk to his like photographer all the time. Like, so for me, it's like I was on stage with him the other day. Like, so for me, like
Right.
that doesn't like it doesn't matter. Like,
Well, so maybe you are luxurious. You're a fan.
I'm very
I've seen Griffin so many times.
God, I'm just so lucky, man. And I have everybody that follows me to thank for that. And it's like I didn't do this on my own, you know. But like my friends want to see a certain set, I want to see it with them. I want to see their reaction. I want to see them in their fucking prime. Why? Because I'm gonna be my prime because like probably that person is like one of my friends or whatever. So like like they don't even know. It's just,
But also, you go to so many festivals, like you're gonna get a chance to see. If you really want to see them, like you're gonna get a chance to see them, whoever you want to see. So it's like you can go where your friends are gonna go because this is your 4th festival this month. Like
yeah,
if you're going to one festival a year and your favorite artist is there and you're not missing it, which is I think what a lot of people in our community do. You got to make a tough choice there.
yeah. So it's like they everybody want to see Excision, but like John Summit back to back, Green Velvet back to back, Dom Dollar was playing, and I was like, okay, I'm like, should I stay at Excision? I've seen Excision about 10 times this year, or should I go to the other stage? But I've also seen
Orlando.
yeah. I'm like, but I've also seen John Summit like 6 times. In fact, he was at our warehouse party. Like he's friends with our friends. I'm like, fuck. Or Green Velvet, who I was just on stage with yet last week.
Yeah, it was so funny. So like for that set, we were over at the base stage, and Deanna, who runs social media for Kandi Bar, she's been such a great partner on this for the last couple of years. Um, she really wanted to see Subtronics.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, "Oh my god, dude, I was so excited. When is Subtronics coming on?" And I was like, "Dude, they're almost done. Like we've been watching them for the last 45 minutes. Like, who do you think is on right now?"
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was like Liquid Stranger and then like Excision.
Yes.
I think Emma and Cami were at the house stage and they came all the way over to come finish with Excision, which was such a surprise.
Yeah, I'm always surprised with Emma because she'll like she started to dabble like with bass lately. She also has this like second persona called Rhythm Emma. She's like wears like all black with red, and she looks great. And yeah, like when I was at EDC Vegas with her, and like she's like, yeah, let's go see. I think it was like Jaws back to back somebody else. It was like Knife Party or something. I can't remember. And I was like, what? Like, sure, let's go. Like
yeah, I mean that's the thing. You got to be able to like be different. I love being different personas. I
mm,
love being like this is like Basshead Day.
yeah,
Or like oh like this is like hippie kind of flower day, like, and I think like different festivals give you room, like at Forest you can just like go solve puzzles the whole time. You don't have to go to any of the festivals. I don't know if I told you this, but we like made best friends with our concierge like back at the campsite because we just come home every day and just chat with her. She just stay up all night, and like on the last day she had a break and she took us like to the like poetry brothel, which you unlock if you do the passport of all the things.
yeah.
And then there was like if you do something there, you get to like the ultimate boss, which actually turned out to be like a dominatrix like kink dungeon situation. Did you know
That is so funny.
And so we just like went in there. It was like we didn't solve any of the puzzles. We just made friends with somebody on staff. Like you're talking about going backstage.
Yep.
But like you never know what you're gonna expect. You get your experience, and like sometimes people like pretend to be characters. Like I walked, met all kinds of people that are like they're dressed like cosplay, but they're like in character for the festival. I was like, that's cool. Or you see that guy with like the like helmet that has funny faces on it that kind of looks like an old like an iMac computer.
Yeah.
Like people have all kinds of creative things they bring to that.
So are you talking about Che Boss?
Yeah.
He's a friend.
What do you think about EDM Cupid's like house versus bass feud that he's been starting lately.
Oh, this motherfucker, man. He been doing that shit just to fucking get a riot out of people in the comments. But two, I think he's him and Eric are doing this thing together. So they're just
Yeah,
they crack me up. I love seeing content creators get together to like, do these funny things for people and stuff because like the community doesn't understand that we're all friends, but like in their eyes, like, oh my God, like there's this like the content creator feud, like, oh, they're like really going at it. For me,
I was like, no, dude, they're not. They're
like I
not.
find it so funny, right? Now if I was to do it and let's say like I did it with Emma, right? People would be like, "Are you guys okay?" Like they would message like there's no way. Like, are you guys like are you guys done? Like you guys done me friend? Like they would be like serious, you know? It's like so like I think it depends like what kind of people are doing it, right? Because like let's say me and Emma, we've been in so many videos and podcasts together for them to see like that kind of reaction. But Eric and Cupid, they've never like done things together. So for them, like, oh my God, they've like
Don't let out the secret. Don't tell everybody in on it. It's WWF. Right?
ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um, Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I do think it's funny how small the community is. Like there's like the Discord chat that like everybody's on. And I think I've loved meeting everybody. And I think everyone's so creative, and I love like making customs for people and building these relationships. I think it's also funny because I'm not on camera very much. And so people know the brand, but they don't know me personally.
mhm.
So I'll go and like I'm kind of at festivals, and people will be like, "Oh my God, like Kandi Bar, like I love that. Like I just got him for this thing, and I got him for this
Yeah.
thing." And I was like, "Oh, interesting. Tell me more." And then they tell me, and I'm like, "Oh, did you know something?" And I'll surprise them like that. Whereas I think you guys get the benefit of like everybody knows you, and so they come up and probably give you a hug and trade, and you get to like make all these different friends.
Yeah, and it really just depends on what kind of content you're actually creating. Because even some content creators don't really get that luxury of being like spotted on and stuff like that. Because a lot of people, there are people that like they make content, but they're like, let's say they're like these big time photographers. They never take a picture of themselves. So it's like, oh, did you know I'm like Excision's photographer? No, nobody knew that. Like that's crazy. You're literally a fucking legend. Like, so it's like depending on the kind of content you're creating. I just happen to get lucky and be like, you know, like have my face on all these videos, but like I don't know if you ever like watch YouTube videos on like YouTube sets on YouTube and like the brand is called Destination EDM, right? And it's two guys. I've never seen their face. And he one of them literally saw me at EDC Orlando and he commented on one of my things. He goes, dude, I just saw you at EDC Orlando. He's like, but my friends were going in a different way and I didn't want to hold them up. I wanted to say hi so bad. And I was like, I don't even know what you look like. Like I probably did see you. Who knows? Like, but you can't expect me or anyone else to recognize you, even if you do have like 20,000, 30,000 followers, because you've never shown your face. So yeah, at this point, your following doesn't matter. Brings me up to another point. Ever heard of Life is Rave on on Instagram? Life is
Yeah.
Rave. Yeah. So Life is Rave is one of my friends, and he's got like 150,000 followers. He's a meme page. That's all he does. Post memes. Never once posted a picture of himself or anything. And when he told me that, I was like, I would have never guessed that was you. Like, you could have kept this secret till the day you died. I would never have known because you never post
Well,
about you.
isn't this kind of like imitating like, Marshmallow or Dead Mouse, in a way, like,
Yeah.
or like even Daft Punk, like the helmet is
Yeah. True.
it's a thing in our community where you can say like, what I want you to pay attention to is to what I create, not to me personally. And I respect that. I think that's a very reasonable choice to make.
And it goes down with our values, right? Some people don't want to be famous. Some people don't. People just want to bring something to the community and they want to be something bigger and they want to provide something for other people. Like so the festival babes, right? Like Kat, for instance, she told me the other day, she's like, I don't want to be famous. She goes, like, my pictures, that's why my picture's not on the festival babes. Like, I don't post that. She's like, I don't care about being famous. I just want to like make you famous. You know what I
I
mean?
was
Like,
I was so looking forward to the fashion show at Imagine. I felt like
I
that was
know.
going to be like there is a fashion game in EDM, and like everybody who's anybody was going to be there, and they were
Yeah.
going to have all these glorious outfits, and it's not this bullshit like Givenchy, Dolce Gabbana. It's not like the like rich fashion. It's just like kids who want to do something cool and look cool, and it was like a ball, and I was
Yeah.
really exciting to see what people brought to that. And it's
Yeah.
too bad that I hope we get to do that again someday.
Um,
Okay. I hope I'm
but
there. I don't know if I'm be
yeah, so we are working with like other festivals and stuff. So we do plan on bringing that back. I was talking to Kat about possibly bringing it for Thunderbeats. I think it's 100% happening again for Imagine.
I don't
And
trust. I'm never going to imagine it. I don't trust those guys.
it is what it is, man. Unfortunately, so I still haven't made my decision yet. I mean, the way I see it, I really did. I mean, I lost on the hotel stuff, but I don't know. I'll see. It's like I was given 2 backstage passes. I really can't. I don't know if I can pass that up.
Look, it. They had to make the right call to close it for safety. I don't disagree with the
I know,
call.
but I think they should have done it at least another day
They
in
should have done it
advance.
more respectfully. And I think they also like in the refunds, like I get these emails being like, sorry, we don't have you on file, or like, and it's like, don't lie to me.
Yeah,
Like don't like, do what you gotta do, but don't lie. Like this is too small of a community to treat people with disrespect or
yeah,
treat people in any way like that. Like it's like, come on, like
yeah.
like Pasquale, like he did the right thing when he had to cancel some stuff and gave people free passes to other festivals. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have to get my free token to whatever festival because I got the 2022 EDC ticket like early bird or whatever. So like they give me a free token to get whatever festival I wanted. So I think I have like another like 6 days to pick a fucking festival to go to. But like I don't know what festival I want to go to. Maybe Nocturnal Wonderland again. I've been there too many times, but it's always like one of those things like oh like I don't know. I'll
But
see.
I really admire how you've been able to make this such a big part of your life while having a full-time job and like, being an adult. Like I think people have this idea somehow that you have to either have to run away and join the circus or you have to grow up and like, look, I have a kid, like I have a professional ass job
Yep.
and I still do this, and it's important to me. And I think you do the same thing. And so we were talking about all these different creators and all the things they do. And I just love learning about like who they are as a real person. Like sometimes you just like never know. Like in my rave group, like we didn't even know what people's jobs were like until we knew three years in. Because
Yeah.
like, in DC, when you meet somebody at happy hour, the first question is, oh, what do you do? They say, oh, well, I work at Deloitte. I'm a consultant. Or they say, oh, I work for the government, whatever. And it's like, no, festivals, you'd be like, oh, sweet. Like we're, like you might say, where'd you get those pants? Or you might say like, oh my God, I love your makeup. But like, they don't say,
Exactly.
like, what do you do?
Which is funny because I actually so I actually tell them what I do first off the bat. Boom. I've noticed that in order to get somebody's attention in the festival scene, right? Like I'm gonna like let's say Dylan Francis comes up to you, right? What are the first fucking thing you're gonna say? How are you gonna introduce yourself? How would you do it right now?
I mean,
Dylan Francis.
Dylan Francis never came up to me like that.
But if you
I
did,
mean, I think when I interact with people like that, I try not to like be too much of a fangirl because I think they get that all the time, and I think they appreciate people that just like treat them like one time I was hanging out with the Chainsmokers at like an apartment party after they played a set in DC, and we were just smoking a joint on the couch, and I was just like treating them like any other people at the house party versus like, oh
right?
my God, it's the Chainsmokers.
But at what point did you introduce your name?
At the beginning, I was like, hey, what's up? I'm David. Like, give him a chat.
Just David, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to do that, just introduce myself, but how many times and how many people's names are they gonna get in one fucking day, right? So what I've decided to like do is I need to be important as well. I'm not gonna fangirl because people should fangirl me, right? So how can you be on a certain level where you're not so like just like everybody else, right? So people are put into categories. People who are just regular, and like you know how many names they get in one fucking day, too many to count. They probably never remembered your name at the entire night, right? Just is
Yeah,
what
but
it is.
I wasn't trying for that. Like, I think it depends what your goals are. Like, if your goal is
Yeah.
to like build a relationship with them, I think your approach is 100% the right
Right.
way. Whereas I think, I'm just trying to hang out like and just have a
Mhm.
good time. My favorite like artist in the whole wide world is Betty Who. I don't know if you ever heard of her. She had a really great EDM remix like 5 years ago, and that's just not really EDM. But like, I go to her concerts. I'm in the front row. Like I did like the meet and greets, and like, I traded candy with her. She wore the candy on stage, which made my day. And so now she recognizes me. Like
Yeah,
she knows.
yeah. Well, you created a moment at that point, you know.
Yeah, well, she didn't even know what candy was, because she's
Yeah.
not,
Oh wow.
and she did, and one time, I was in a different city for work, and she was teaching a Soul Cycle class
Hmm.
that she announced for like a charity. And I was like, I got an Uber, I went an hour just to like go to that thing, and like, I don't know, like I think she's a really special artist, but I think it's a difference between you're meeting Dylan Francis at a party and he meets 10 other people, every
Yeah.
second.
Since
Versus
there's
like,
at least for like I guess it depends on what you're aiming for, right? And but if like let's say I was David, right? I like, hey, how's it going? My name's David. Like I'm CEO of a candy company called Kandi Bar. He'd be like, oh, what's that? Boom. conversation. Now you're talking about your business,
Right.
and I like to make sure that you have one shot to really make a good impression, right? So I try to make sure I make a good one. So a lot of times I start off with like, hey, I'm Manny. I go by Frisky Hug on IG. I'm also the a host for a podcast called Festy Podcast, where I bring a lot of DJs and I bring people that influence the EDM community in any sorts of ways. Yeah, and I kind of just put them out there on my platform. They're like, whoa, that's cool. He's like, do you have an IG for that? I'm like, oh, here it is. Like, he's like, are you looking for guests? I'm like, yeah, for sure.
You got Dylan Francis on this podcast?
No, but I got Zeke Beats that wants me to schedule him soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my last people that I was like, I was bringing up the whole thing, and he goes, yeah, dude, I would love to be in your podcast.
I love how much variety there is in the genres of EDM there are, and I think there's always more to discover. And I think, tell me if it's different for you, but for me, like different genres are different moods or different situations.
Mhm.
Like working on Excel and like headphones on, like I want like more like trancey. But like on my motorcycle, like I love like 80s retro wave, like synth wave, like sounds like an action movie. You ever listen to
Yeah.
that stuff?
So
I don't know.
I think for me, it's like just depends on my personal mood because I have listened to John Summit straight in the car for an hour, and then other times I'm listening to just like, oh, you know what it is actually. If I'm going to a show, I always play the artist that I'm going to go see ahead of time. That way, if there's like a song I don't know and I could be up on, I'd be like, oh my God, I like this song. I just heard it in the car. I'm hearing it again live, I don't want to hear a song live first and then hear it later. I want to hear it first, then see it live later. So I guess it depends on like that.
If I really care about a DJ, I love small venues. Like I saw Slushy in DC at Soundcheck, and it was like there was probably 40 people in the crowd. It was like a small crowd, and he like got to do all the experimental stuff. Like he's not
Mhm.
going to do a main stage somewhere, and like we got to trade candy with him and got to hang out. Or like when I saw Memba, like they were in like a dive bar, like 40 people, and like I've seen them play huge fucking stages at
Mhm.
Forest. So I love to like find when the artist that I like is at a small venue so that I can kind of have like a personal moment and they feel more free to play the kinds of sets that they think like the hardcore fans want versus like when they're lining up a set for a big stage, they want to kind of bring everybody along who just doesn't even know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me it depends on the party size that you have. So if my party size is really big, like let's say we're running like 10 to 15 people
Oh
deep,
yeah, yeah.
like I wanted to experience, or if like it's the first time raver, I wanted to like really experience the festival. You know what I mean? So
Sure,
like they're like, oh my God, this guy is great. I'm like, oh, but he's better. Like let's because some of like Subtronics, for instance, puts on a show. It's not just
sure.
like, you know, um,
It's a different thing, like especially when they get the production value and like the
yeah,
big screens and like I think it depends on like what I was talking about was I'm either going by myself or like one friend. And it's like, this is like my favorite artist that I just want to meet them
yeah,
versus like, do I want to go and like see them do the whole, like, do I want to do Liquid
yeah,
Stranger, like the whole thing,
yeah.
like, yeah, then you want to see them at the biggest, baddest venue they got. What do you think about like, have you watched the Shaq documentary about him becoming DJ Diesel? It's on
No,
HBO.
I haven't. It's on
I was like watching
HBO.
it. Yeah, it was pretty dope. I was watching 2 days
Oh
ago.
my God, I'm about to see that shit, dude.
He threw down at EDC Orlando. Like that was no joke.
No, I that was honestly probably one of the best sets there. I mean, I feel like everything was a very bland up until he got on, and it was like, let's tear each other's faces off.
I just admire that he's like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to be the best in this genre too.
Yeah, he was like, where are the fucking mosh pits? I'm like, bro, like people are dying over here. It's like a fucking trenches.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
Oh my God. Speaking of, because I just said this, you were at EDC Vegas, correct? I think,
No, I've never
right?
been to BBC Vegas.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking about EDC Orlando when I saw that. We were all camping next to like an Air Force base, and there was like nothing but like planes just like shooting above us. And BB Howell literally wakes up in the morning. She's like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm in the trenches." I'm like,
That
this
is a
bitch.
take. That is a take, my friend. No, I mean, I think look, being real for a second, like, my wife has asthma and she was pregnant during the pandemic, and then we
Mhm.
had a brand new baby. So we kept it locked down. Like we were like living in the house basically from the beginning until like the middle of 2021.
Yeah.
And like I really appreciate those like home raves that they did on Twitch, like with Pasquale and Insomniac. Like I was like dancing on the patio with that. I'd have like a friend over with a mask, like on the other side. I went to my first drive-in, like, God, I think like way into it. I didn't go. I know, and I think everyone's in a different stage of their life, and I understand where they're different point. But for us, we had to really have high security, and so it's been weird. And like my first real event back was EDC Orlando last fall, and I'm so glad I got to go do that because this is an important part of me, and it's kind of been missing for a couple of years. And I'm just praying that this year looks better. Like maybe we're over it for a little while. I mean, you never know now, right? But
yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll ever be like gone or whatever, but the fact that like the mutations have gone, like the side effects have gotten lesser, at least like they're not like killing 100,000 people in a day anymore or whatever. It's like my whole family in Cali just got it. Like they just told me the news yesterday. They're like, yeah, we all have COVID, by the way. I'm like, when did you guys get COVID? And I think they got it when they went to Disneyland. And you know, but they're like, well, none of us have symptoms. We don't get it. And like, whatever. And my sister, my family works like state jobs and stuff. So they have to get tested. And that's not the only reason they found out. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you just never know. But like the symptoms aren't as severe these days as they were. And like,
we're just hoping there's not a variant that escapes the vaccine or the previous immunities, right? Like that's the big thing we're worried about. But as long as everybody does their part, like stay home if you test positive, get your vaccines, like I think we'll get through it. And I think Pasquale talks about how the EDM community like was underground in the beginning, like when raves were not allowed, and it's like there's definitely an aspect of like being on the frontier of things. And I think my personal choice is not to be one of the first ones out there, but like I know you were, and
I got shit and beat for it. So we all have, it's a consequence of our own actions, man. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's it was really inspiring to see people having fun out there, and it helped me hope that someday I'd be able to have fun too.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes with the cost and stuff like that. So for me, it was like the amount of like DMs and people like unfollowing me and the amount of like within like content creator fights that we had within each other. Because remember, not everyone got a free ticket. So if I got one and somebody else didn't, all of a sudden they hate me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry that now you're gonna claim that I'm not wearing masks. You're gonna try to look for those things when in reality it's just because you weren't invited. You didn't get a free ticket.
I mean, that raises about, so number one, like I support making reasonable choices and precautions for the pandemic, right? So like I think there were some things that I saw that I just did not support, and I was like, before the vaccines came out, it was not a responsible choice to have a bunch of people in a crowd. Like that just was not a good choice. When you have people that are vaccinated, social distancing, and younger, and then I think it starts to become more acceptable. But it kind of depends on I look at the transmission rates every day in my local area to decide if I feel comfortable doing that or not. And it's not just about my safety; it's about other people. And it's like even if I'm not going to get sick, I don't want to get other people sick. So like there's that issue. I understand that, but the haters online is just so annoying, and I think people don't realize how much creators have to deal with. And all the horrible comments they get, like I'm sure you get horrible comments, but like especially like the female creators get all kinds of sexual comments and DMs and stuff. Like, and I really appreciate those that are willing to speak out about it and kind of show people screenshots of like what they get. Like I know Nicole has been doing some stuff lately where she kind of talks about what she's going through, and it's just it sucks. And like, who is on TikTok like commenting on hate on people's videos? Like, you got nothing better to do, my friend? Like, first of all, this video came to you because TikTok thought you liked it.
It's called the For You page.
It's on your For You. You did something to get this video, or it's like people who like comment, they're like, oh my God, why am I getting all these gay ass videos? It's like,
you gay?
Let's take a second and like let's have an open mind and listen to our heart. Like
an open butt cheek.
It's like my For You page is all chicks shaking their boobs in bikinis. It's like, dude, you know how this works? Like, so yeah, I don't know.
It's funny because last week's episode was with Jay, the guy who has literally gotten the shit beat out of him on TikTok with hate comments. Like there was an actual comment on there. Somebody said, "Oh, I hope you fucking die." I'm like, where did you think that was okay to say that to somebody ever in your life? And it's like,
I've ever made a negative comment on a social media post or video, and it's like, why would I bother? I'm there to have fun. I'm there to, What the fuck? Like, who does that?
And it's one thing if you're like, you know, worried for them, like personally, like you actually are because you know them or whatever. But if you don't know them or whatever, and honestly, if you're telling somebody to go kill themselves, it's just a whole different section of just don't
Right.
do, you know?
And like those people get to keep making comments, but like girls can't have shirts that are below
Mhm.
here because they're gonna get flagged for minor violations. And it's
you
like,
you can't even or reply to that video or that post with another video because then you're bullying and that one gets taken down.
right. I think that social media platforms, I work in tech, so I have like lots of opinions on this we won't be getting into now, but like have more responsibility than they have today to have better content moderation. I think this whole thing is premised upon AI can be a sufficiently good enough content moderation thing, and it's not. It's not. And you need to have people involved, and you have clear policies, and you have those policies disclosed, and you have an appeals process because you get small business owners, like you saw Disco Lamb, like her page got taken down. Why? Who the hell knows? That's her livelihood. That's not okay. And you've
Yeah.
got these people that put thousands of dollars and years of work and get their IG deleted. And
Yeah.
you get people that get banned, for minor. And it's like, dude, I'm 27 years old. I'm not a minor. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, dude. I like, and you know, and I see people like content creators like crying and they're like, dude, like this happened to me. This is like, honestly, if it happened to me, I'd also be fucking crying because like the amount of energy that I've put in all my platforms, dude, it's like, okay, so my Twitter got deleted. It'd be like, 1,000, who cares? You know, but like when you're talking like anything over like 10K, you've worked for that. Like that shit took time. Aside from YouTube, if you're over 1K, you that works. That took time. YouTube for some
Yeah,
reason is a
like
different platform, but
we we all, in a world where technology has taken over different aspects of society, we live and die by these platforms. If you get banned from Uber, where how can you get somewhere?
yeah.
Like my business is on Amazon, and like one time some guy like made counterfeit products, and he was like, "This is Kandi Bar," but it's just like some like junky thing that he was just putting in a box.
Mhm.
And then like I started to get bad reviews, and I was like, "What?" Like Amazon like stopped this guy from selling counterfeits, and they were like, "We don't know what you're like." I couldn't even get somebody on the email.
That's crazy.
Yeah, or like if I send stuff in and it gets lost, or they cap the amount of product you can send in, and I was like, okay, like I need to be able to send in a month's worth of product because it takes you a month to open it and send it to people, and the business is at stake here, and they kind of don't care because they're like, well, there's a million of you, and so just in the same way that a lot of content creators, their IG is everything or their TikTok is everything. When they get put on a content pause, like it's a huge hit to their income. Same thing with me with Amazon. Like if they just wake up, maybe I shouldn't talk about
Wait.
it.
So that was a real story. Like that actually happened?
Yeah, yeah,
That's insane, dude.
yeah.
Who
And
the
then
fuck?
I sent this guy a message, and he started cussing me out and sending these horrible messages like, "You copied me," and I was like, "Bro, this is
What?
I have a government trademark. I've been doing this for years. Like, I don't know what you're talking about."
I
You
can't
know,
believe this is a real story. This is just whack.
I've had so many experiences with Amazon where like something will stop working, like my listing will disappear, and you don't know why, and like the sales go to zero, and you have to go in and like they updated something, and you have to like,
Insert
and it's
everything in or
not,
something.
yeah, and the customer service just does not like listen to you. Like, when like you're like mad, it's insulting when you're angry and you're hurt and like no one will listen to you.
Yeah.
Like you want to like call TikTok and be like, TikTok, let me tell you, here's my driver's license. Like I'm not a minor, but there's nobody there,
Yeah.
and I get that same thing with Amazon where like, it's like, this is really important. It's thousands of dollars, which means a lot to me. And like,
You know, and here's the thing though, it's like there is like a real person to call. How do you get that number? Like who because like even TikTok has a corporation number in the United States. What's the number? Why is it not like in case of emergency, like, hey, because this is our livelihood. For them, it's like, oh, kids making TikToks. No, bro, like some of these fucking creators, like it's like what they live off of because they create content literally all day.
well, the business model doesn't scale because the cost to have a bunch of people standing by to answer customer service
Mhm.
requests would be too expensive relative to the amount of revenue that the platform makes. And so it's a
Yeah.
choice by them not to support it that way. But I think the problem is these tools become really important social functions. And so this may be a case, and also there's some regulations about what they can and can't regulate. And it's basically like they either have to let everything on or nothing or no. And then I don't want to get into all the details of regulation, but there's some laws on the books that are a little bit outdated about how they can and can't manage those platforms. And so I think this is one where kind of as a society, we need to think about what are the rules and rights of people on these platforms, because they become public utilities. Like, you know, you can't like get banned from having the internet from your house. You know, you can't get like you can get banned from the road if you like break the law, but you know, you can't get banned from the road for like having a different car color than people like. You know, like there's certain rules in a society about what you can and can't do and have access to public utilities. So like, you know, at some point you got to kind of ask, when is there a property right? You know, when do you own that account? And if they take it away, they have to pay you, you know?
And when can they ask questions first before they ban you, right? Like I can't claim that you're a minor without first asking you for your ID with probable cause. You know what I mean? So like there's situations and stuff, because like I was banned on TikTok. I actually had a
shirt that says that.
Yeah, I had I had a one. I will say restricted. I will say I was 1 week restricted on TikTok because I uploaded a mosh pit video making the basketball squeak noises, and it said I was inciting violence.
Wow, you're
And
Travis Scott over here.
What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like just not post anymore?
Right, but like that wasn't like there was not like a committee of people that sat around and were like, what do we think, guys? All right, raise your hand if you think he's guilty.
Yeah,
you know, like, it wasn't like
didn't even make one view before it was like
yeah,
blocked.
it's like a robot, you know, and they're not capable enough.
And there was no appeal option. It was just like, this is like you've been warned multiple times about uploading certain videos. You are on strike 3, sir. I'm like, oh fuck, delete my account.
Yeah, and I think where it gets really bad is that when like, you know, BIPOC creators or queer creators do things that are not at all in violation of the rules, but you know, the system flags like being gay as like being inappropriately sexual, you know, or like there's all these things encode cultural norms. How about like the nipple ban on Instagram? Like it's a little strange that men can have nipples out and women can't. Like, what about non-binary people? Like, what about people that are trans? Like, how the hell do you enforce that rule? And why are paintings okay and pictures not okay? Like, I don't know, man. I think like I'd rather have a button that says like I can filter what I see, versus like this content is banned. But at the same time, you don't want minors being exploited on TikTok. Like, why isn't there a no? I don't want to see any minors filter. Like, there should be like a wall.
Oh yeah, like 100%. Just no. And here's a kicker: is they're separated anyways. I've never seen a kid on my For You page ever, so I don't know. Like it's already like TikTok's already doing it. So what's the problem?
I don't know, man.
I mean, YouTube started doing this whole thing where like, you know, you have to like click if this video is for children or not, you know? So it's
but then you get these assholes that are making videos that look like they're for children. And in the middle, they have like scary, traumatizing shit. It's like the parents like put on like the happy like ice cream cone and they walk away. And then 3 minutes later, it's like a chainsaw massacre. And it's like you're traumatizing these children. And there's somebody somewhere sitting in a fucking chair being like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I could traumatize all these children? It's like, fuck you. That's the same guy that's commenting, go kill yourself on your friend's page. Like there are people that hate themselves for some reason, and they're out there causing harm in the world, and it's awful.
For me, it's the fact that they have the time to do that. Like I barely have time to sleep, let alone, you know.
That's because you're trying to make things better. Everything you touch, you're working hard to make it something special. When you meet people, you're trying to make connections, you're trying to introduce them. When you go to your job, you're trying to help your patients. Like you're doing something every minute of the day. And a lot of you find it fun. I'm the same way. I'm always going. And it's like some people just are out there to destroy, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
People probably that do all nothing but stocks. Like, you know what? It's time to traumatize a 5-year-old today.
I think in a world of AI algorithmic content, I think where we're headed is a world of curation. And I think the reason why people love creators like you and Emma and everybody else is because there's so much stuff that comes online every day that nobody could possibly look through all that stuff and find the good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think they trust you guys to pick the things that they should pay attention to. Like here's the new music of the week you should listen to. Here's this artist I'm like, here are these brands I like. And that's important because not everyone has time to like look through the bin and find the good stuff.
It's so funny you said that because a couple of weeks ago I was telling it to somebody because my roommate asked me, he's like, well, what can you offer, right? Like when a DJ comes up to you, why should that DJ talk to you if he's so busy and stuff? What can you offer, right? And I was like, damn, I don't even fucking know. I'm just a content creator, so like why should he let me on stage? Fuck if I know. So we were thinking about that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, fuck, dude, it's so early and my ADD gets the better of me. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I get what you're talking about. What you're saying is, what is it that you can return to them? And I think the answer is you are like an editor or you're like a cultural signal booster. And when you find something you like, you help your audience discover that thing. And so DJ, like maybe they're so famous they don't need you, right? But especially if they're smaller, you're someone they're going to audition and you're going to say, wow, I'm really digging this. And like, let's face it, there are a lot of people that have gotten into John Summit because you and Emma have been telling everybody he's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who found out about Lunchbox because you guys have been talking about it. And you wouldn't have said that if it wasn't a really great product, right?
That's
I
true.
think like the world has a lot of junk in it, and I think stores used to curate, these are the good things, but now there's everything. It's like, how do you know? Is this from, Shein or whatever? Like, is this just going to fall apart the second I have it? And so, culture is driven by people who curate and magnify more than ever before. And you do that. And that's an important role in our community.
Yeah. And I have like this, like, I'm like pretty strict about like the companies that I work with. I don't work with a company like I don't personally enjoy. So if I've had worked for a company in the past and it's maybe only lasted a month and I don't no longer work with them, it's probably for a reason. A lot of the times, let's say if it's like a clothing company, I just didn't like the style of clothing. It was too thin, ripped too easily. Like I put on clothes that ripped in the first hour that I had it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna tell somebody to go buy this shit. Sorry.
And like I'm a big dude and I often cannot fit into clothes in a lot of these brands. So they'll have like super skinny version, but they won't have like I'm a rugby player, I lift weights. Like they don't have like thigh, like even regular clothes. It's hard to buy jeans.
Thunder thigh leggings.
I don't know. I mean, don't you think it's funny also when you make Instagram friends and you meet them in real life and you like have no idea like how tall they are or like all that stuff?
I have been told that like somebody was like, wow, I didn't know you were this short. I'm like,
something on a line you want to open with to make friends.
Yeah, in my country, I'm tall. So
where's that?
I was gonna say Oaxaca, but that's a little offensive to my sister's husband's family. But just Mexico.
Gotcha.
There's a part of Mexico called Oaxaca. It's where the really, really short Mexicans live. It's like, yeah.
I grew up in Southern California, and I think there's definitely a difference where you grew up, whether you like say Mexican food or like when you can say like the different regional cuisines, because like only in certain areas like in Texas and California, you're like, oh, that's a Oaxacan restaurant.
Yeah.
Versus it's like a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
Right. It's a huge difference. 100%.
Yeah. And like my sister's husband's family, like they're from Oaxaca. So like they eat Oaxacan food. So when I go there, I'm like, I don't know what the hell anything here is. So
are you go like Michoacan or like you go to Sinaloa? Like there's all kinds of
like
stuff.
so my dad's from Sinaloa. So like, their food over there. I would say they're a little fancier with their food in Sinaloa. And so it really just depends on like the regions and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, David, my guy, it has been over an hour and a half.
Wow, I can't believe that went by so fast.
It seems like a little bit shorter time when you think about it, but once the conversation starts picking up, we're just like.
Well, I hope everybody had fun listening today. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. I'm always so impressed by everything you do. I'm really proud to support you as a creator, and I'm really grateful that you've been willing to work with Kandi Bar with the collab packs, with the coupon codes. And you should tell everyone to go check it out. Use your code FriskyHug at checkout on our Shopify store at www.kandi.bar.
Where can I mean? Do you have like? Do you want people to follow your personal account? Do you want them to follow your Kandi Bar account? What's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
where
I
can they
think
follow you on everything?
yeah, everyone should check us out on Instagram and TikTok. So on Instagram, we're at Kandi Bar, KandiBar, and TikTok at Kandi.bar. My personal account is like not that exciting, so I wouldn't bother. But if you want to hit me up, you can. And then I think you should just go ahead and if you're trying to buy Kandi Bar products and you want us on Prime shipping, we're on Amazon. So just search for Rave Candy or Kandi Bar on there, and you'll find us. Or if you go to our Instagram page, you can go to our Shopify site, or you can find us at some of the brands that you shop at already. We're in the Freedom Ravewear store, along with other places. And just look out in 2022. We'll have some new collab packs coming with some other great content creators. I'm really excited to announce soon. And we're always, looking for phrase ideas if you want to contribute what you think should be in the next pack. But we're keeping it fresh. We're keeping it funny. And I promise you'll find something great in the pack. We have 100% happiness guarantee as well. So if you don't like the pack you get, just send us a DM or an email, and we'll send you another one for free, so you can see what you can find what you like.
Well, you guys heard him, man. So follow this man. I've been working with him since the beginning. It's honestly been a pleasure. And I see you building a community within the Kandi Bar community, So it's always cool like to have these extra chats where, it's almost like we're like little gangs, little happy plur gangs.
I can't wait to party with you for real at a festival. I mean, I think I saw you for like what 5 minutes at ET
uh,
Orlando.
yeah,
We gotta hang out this year for
I had
sure.
to dip out. I was hosting a meetup with Radiate, but I wanted to be there for Emma and Tommy for their meetups and stuff. And I was like, okay, let me wing it, And honestly, I actually stayed too late. I had to go to my meetup and I got stopped like 3 times on the way there. So I was very, very late to my own meetup.
Well, I think
And
we're gonna do a meetup at Glow, so maybe we'll do that.
yeah, that'd be fucking great. I have to send Phil my list of festivals because I think he wants to sponsor a couple of them. And then
Bill?
if you Phil, oh, so he's the owner of Radiate. Well, he's the co-owner. There's two people. It's him and
Yeah,
Michael. And he wants to like because we Radiate. We work together for a lot of stuff. And like I was working with like Lunchbox mostly for a lot of stuff, but honestly, Lunchbox, they got it under wraps. They got a huge community there. And right now I'm like, working with Radiate has become like a priority for me. It's a very like they're very limited on who they let work with them, and I love being that limitation, I guess. Like, oh,
yeah,
like I'm the guy, so like
yeah. You're doing it.
I'm trying my
You,
best, man.
you and the Rhino, right?
Yeah, me and Red the Rhino, we got it, bro.
Awesome. Well, it was really great to talk to you today,
Yeah.
man.
So, and then for the viewers, guys, if you guys are listening to this on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any of these major platforms, that's great and dandy. But if you want to see our faces and our reactions and stuff like that, this is available on YouTube. Um, and don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that jazz. Also, if you're on Spotify, if you give me a 5-star rating, that would be great. But like I say at every single episode, I will see y'all at the next one. Bye.